Chosen soul, the atmosphere of heaven has just shifted, and within that shift, a series of sacred mandates has been finalized. Each one marked with intention, each one carrying a name, and yours has just transitioned from waiting to alive, from dormant to engaged, from silent to moving. Pause here and feel this. The decision has been locked in the unseen. Among countless hearts seeking clarity, only a small number were marked to encounter this precise message. At this precise moment, in this precise alignment of time and spirit, what once rested in the shadows has stepped into the light. What lingered in suspension has been released forward. What you doubted internally has now been affirmed beyond question. As your eyes move across these words, something greater than coincidence is rearranging your position. The mission you felt deep within but could never fully articulate has now been officially authorized. Beyond the veil, what is being uncovered here will finally make sense of the solitude, the refining seasons, the weight that seemed unrelenting, and why every one of those moments was shaping you for now. Remain until the final breath of this message, because we will come into agreement together and anchor what is being spoken. This encounter is intentional. You did not stumble upon these words by chance. They were drawn to you, tuned to your inner frequency, synchronized to this exact second on the clock of destiny. While many are endlessly scrolling, only a few will truly absorb what is flowing through this transmission. If you feel a movement within, if your spirit recognizes the gravity of what is being released, allow that response to rise. Let your agreement be known. Let alignment be witnessed. Step into communion with those walking this path of divine synchronization together. This window of time carries weight. It is not trivial. It reaches into the fabric of purpose itself. This is about destiny unfolding. This is about positioning your life within the design that existed before your first breath ever entered your lungs. Do not overlook this moment. Hear this clearly. In realms unseen, resistance has been relentless. Opposition intensified to postpone what was inevitable. Every diversion, every fog of confusion, every opportunity that collapsed just as you reached for it was not random. It was calculated disruption. What you carry within you challenges darkness in ways you are only beginning to grasp. Ancient wisdom reminds us to stay awake and steady because opposition moves deliberately, seeking vulnerability. This is not symbolic language. This is operational truth. The intensity of the pushback you endured is a direct reflection of the authority resting upon your life. And this is where many misunderstand the process. Conflict escalates just before elevation. Pressure mounts just before release. Resistance peaks just before activation. You were never battling meaningless struggles. You were being readied. Every unseen victory, every choice to remain true when compromise seemed easier, every moment you upheld integrity without applause was part of the assessment. It was formation. It was refinement. Those selected are not chosen for flawlessness, but for capacity, for resilience, for the ability to remain standing when the weight increases. This path was never about ease. It has always been about alignment, about responsibility, and about the instant you recognize this truth, everything begins to realign around you. Allow me to guide you into a core reality, one that has the power to realign the way you understand your entire journey. There is an ancient declaration that speaks beyond time, a reminder that before your body was shaped, before life stirred within you, you were already known, already distinguished, already designated with intention. Long before breath filled your lungs, before rhythm entered your chest, before anyone on earth could speak your name, separation had already taken place. This explains why your existence has never fit neatly into ordinary patterns. This is why the familiar has never fulfilled you. This is why, deep inside, you have always felt a pull towards something greater, something richer, something entrusted to you alone. You are not a coincidence. You are not a misplaced soul searching for meaning. You are purpose wrapped in flesh, a sacred mandate walking the earth. And those who are numbered among the few, they carry callings so exact, so deliberate, so heavy with consequence that their preparation must be uncommon. Many cannot endure the solitude that accompanies distinction. They crave affirmation, quick outcomes, visible proof that they are moving forward. But you learned how to remain steady in the empty spaces. You learned how to trust without evidence. You learned how to respond when clarity was absent. That is not fragility. That is confirmation of selection beyond the natural. There is a truth written that speaks of great power hidden within fragile vessels, revealing that the source of strength is divine rather than human. What you carry is not rooted in perfection, but in consistency. Not in outward impressiveness, but in quiet faithfulness. Heaven measures differently than the world does. In this moment, give voice to what is true. Declare that you are not random, that you are distinguished, that you bear a sacred responsibility, and that you accept it without resistance. Repeat it until it settles, until it anchors itself deep within you. Here is where many misunderstand their own narrative. They look back at hardship and decide they were doomed. They interpret delays as evidence of failure. They feel the heaviness of the road and assume they have been disqualified. That belief is deception. There's a pattern woven into the divine order. Preparation always comes before display. Cleansing comes before elevation. Examination comes before confirmation. You were never being punished. You were being shaped. Every door that refused to open sharpened your discernment. Every betrayal refined your sense of boundaries. Every quiet season trained your ears to recognize truth above distraction. Every pause taught you patience and accuracy. The pressure you survived did not dismantle you. It purified you. There is a sacred image of refinement, of precious metal exposed to flame. The fire does not erase its value. It reveals it, separating what is authentic from what cannot remain. Your trials were not designed to disqualify you. They were meant to confirm your readiness. And now you find yourself at the threshold of release. Observation has concluded. Preparation has reached its fullness. What was being monitored has been acknowledged. What was withheld is beginning to move. Yet this is the reality few are willing to accept. The calling demands payment. Comfort will be exchanged. Approval will no longer guide you. Blending in will no longer be an option. Those who are marked are visible. They are positioned. They are asked to remain standing when others retreat. Let this truth be written where you can return to it. The pressure was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to construct you. You were not falling apart. You were being assembled. Return to it whenever uncertainty rises. There is a principle often repeated, yet rarely embodied. Love is proven through obedience. Not when it feels easy. Not when logic agrees. Not when the crowd supports it. True alignment is revealed through action. And obedience unlocks the moment where timing converges. You have walked through a stretch where clarity was absent, where access remained closed, where prayers felt unheard, where movement brought no visible progress. That was not neglect. That was repositioning. What did not belong was being removed. What could distract you was being shut out. Escape routes were sealed so you would stop running from what was entrusted to you. The truth remains simple and unwavering. Obedience outweighs performance. Heaven is not impressed by display. It responds to surrender. And the instant you yield fully, not in speech but in decision, movement begins. Those chosen step forward not when certainty arrives, but when consent is given. Not when every answer is known, but when trust is placed in the one who already holds them all. Not when the road feels certain, but when courage moves first and faith places its foot on unseen ground. And this is what unfolds afterward. Suddenly a timeless promise comes alive, a whisper that says the moment has arrived. And when it does, movement happens quickly. One instant you are lingering in expectation, and in the next, reality rearranges itself. Entrances that once refused you swing wide without resistance. Relationships that felt unreachable synchronize with ease. Provisions that were concealed step into view. This is not coincidence. This is alignment, the meeting point where obedience collides with appointed time. Take a moment and sense where hesitation has lived within you. Not rebellion, not defiance, but that quiet pause rooted in fear, uncertainty, or delay. Bring it into the light. Acknowledge it. Then choose a single act of obedience today. One message sent, one honest conversation, one courageous decision. Let it happen before the day closes. Now listen closely, because what distinguishes the seven is often misunderstood. It is not brilliance. It is not charm. It is not giftedness, access, or influence. It is the ability to remain. There is a truth that speaks of perseverance, of continuing to sow goodness without surrendering to exhaustion, because harvest is promised to those who refuse to quit. Most people release their grip when resistance increases. They step back when progress feels invisible. They retreat when affirmation is absent. They withdraw when sacrifice demands too much. But you did not. You remained present. You pressed forward. You advanced even when logic urged retreat. You clung on when strength felt depleted. You stood upright when your legs trembled. You trusted when doubt raised its voice above hope. That endurance is not accidental. It is your strength. It is what qualifies you to carry what comes next. There is a blessing reserved for those who withstand the test, for those who remain steady through pressure, because completion is rewarded, not enthusiasm alone. The honor is not given to those who begin with intensity, but to those who conclude with faithfulness. And you are still here, still upright, still believing. That alone reveals something undeniable about who you are. Look back over recent years. Recall moments when leaving would have been easier, yet you stayed. Recognize your resilience. Give thanks for the strength that sustained you. Then speak this with intention. I will not stop. I will not abandon this path. I will complete what heaven initiated. This next truth carries weight, but it is essential. The separation you felt, the quiet distance, the sense of being unseen or misunderstood, that was not rejection. It was safeguarding. There is a sacred principle that intimacy is reserved for those who revere deeply, and truth is entrusted to those who can carry it responsibly. What is precious is not shared with the masses, but with those proven faithful in silence, those who can hold insight without misusing it, those who can bear responsibility without collapsing. You were drawn away because you were being shaped for closeness that few experience. The crowd could not follow. The noise needed to fade. The excess had to fall away. And within that stillness, something invaluable formed. You learned to recognize his voice, not filtered through opinions, not echoed through trends, not shaped by popularity. You learned to hear directly, distinctly, intimately. That connection is your base. That awareness steadies you. And now, as movement begins, you will not be shaken because familiarity has replaced confusion. You will not drift because discernment has been trained. You will not be lost because presence has been cultivated. The solitude was never punishment. It was preparation for a depth of relationship that demands full attention. Create space today for silence. Remove sound. Remove interruption. Sit with intention. Ask a single question. What do you want me to understand right now? Then remain open. Record what comes, even if it feels small. Honor the closeness being offered. Here is the dividing line between the seven and the rest. Activation requires response. Compliance is never forced. It is invited. An opening is provided, but crossing the threshold is your choice. There is an open door before you now, untouched by resistance, but movement is required. Those chosen do not awaken their calling through passive agreement, but through decisive steps, not by appreciation alone, but by commitment expressed through action. And in this moment, heaven is attentive, not searching for fault, but watching to see if trust will rise and move forward. If you are willing to move forward, even when the destination is still hidden, if you are willing to respond even when obedience carries a cost, if you are willing to advance while fear whispers that staying still is safer, then understand this clearly. The step you take next carries weight, not later in the year, not when confidence finally arrives. Now before this day breathes its final moment, let one deliberate action rise from your spirit toward what has been entrusted to you. Let a call be made, a message be released, a decision embodied. Do not allow the light of this day to fade without answering what has just been awakened within you. Over the coming stretch of days, allow your inner posture to shift steadily. Let your voice speak identity into the atmosphere, affirming that you belong among those set apart. that you welcome what has been assigned to you without resistance, that delay no longer has authority over your movement, that doubt no longer governs your decisions, and that obedience is now your response. Immerse your thoughts in ancient truths that speak of being known before formation, of being separated with intention, of carrying power within fragile form, and let reflection open space for revelation to rise within you. Allow moments of intentional sacrifice to sharpen your hearing, choosing silence over noise, listening more deeply than you speak, inviting clarity rather than forcing direction. As the days unfold, let honesty surface where hesitation once lived. Acknowledge areas where fear slowed your steps and correct them with humility and courage. Reach outward when prompted, even if the reason is not immediately clear, trusting that alignment often precedes understanding. Let your surroundings become consecrated space, filled with intention and purpose, where distraction loses its voice and divine focus takes its place. As you look back over these moments, record every shift, every quiet confirmation, every subtle movement that reveals you are not walking alone, and let gratitude rise for faithfulness that never wavered. Let your mouth release words of authority that align your spirit with what was written long before you arrived here. Affirm that you were distinguished before birth, that you accept what has been placed in your care with readiness and surrender, that confusion and delay no longer hold influence over your path, that the season of testing has reached its conclusion and a season of activation has begun. Declare that alignment with divine timing now governs your steps, that obedience overrides hesitation, that faith speaks louder than fear, that movement replaces passivity. Receive endurance as a crown earned through perseverance. Welcome doors that remain open beyond opposition, and commit to walking in closeness with God, recognizing His voice and responding without delay. Allow acceleration to touch every corner of your life. Recognize that you are not accidental, not common, not misplaced. You are assigned with purpose, and breakthrough, clarity, and confirmation are moving toward you with intention. Seal this truth with reverence, anchoring it in faith, letting it stand firm. Lift your gratitude and acknowledge the call spoken over your life, the refinement that shaped you, the solitude that strengthened you. Declare that every assignment placed upon you is now alive and active, that every opening is met with courage, that every instruction is met with obedience. Let delay lose its grip, let distraction dissolve, let doubt fall silent. Release clarity into your mind, boldness into your actions, alignment into your relationships, provision into your journey. Ask for protection along your path, for wisdom beyond experience, for swift confirmation that what has been spoken is unfolding even now. Chosen one, this moment belongs to you, not in some distant future, not after another season passes, but here within this breath. If something resonated deeply as you moved through these words, if you sensed a shift within, allow that response to be seen. Let your agreement be known. Let your yes echo beyond the visible. Share this message with another who has been waiting quietly, carrying weight without recognition. This word was never meant to stop with you alone. It was released for those marked to receive it. And as you continue forward, remember that this path was never designed to be walked in isolation. Move now, act now, obey now. The unseen is attentive, and what has been assigned to you begins in this moment.